Hey there, welcome back to Ask Amy. Before I get to my question today from Maddy, I want to mention that tomorrow, Tuesday, what's the date? I don't know, November 12th, I'm doing a free 2-hour class on silence, 2 hours of silence. But we won't be silent the whole time, but there will be some silence at the end. And before that, we'll be looking at the silence in the center of everything, something I love talking about, just feeling into like what's really here. And silence at the center of everything is just a way of pointing to that. But I'll talk about some of the benefits I've found in silence, prolonged silence, or even just touching into this little bit of something at the center of everything, this little bit of silence in the center of all sound, all noise, everything. Some really amazing kind of just, benefits and ways that it seems to sort of point us back to our being. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow on the call. I think the link, I'll try to put it here, is dramyjohnson.com/silence class. So check that out and join us. So my question today is from Maddy. Maddy says, I've been aware of this understanding for around 6 months, and I've been listening to your podcast from starting at the beginning. She says, I'm at the end of 2021 right now. You have a long way to go, Maddy. My partner and I have been trying to conceive naturally for 2 years, and it looks like we're about to enter the IVF process. I understand from one of your podcast episodes that you also struggle to conceive. I have this weird feeling that IVF has so many parallels with the overthinking mind. It's interfering and incredibly complicated. Although it feels like a seismic leap of faith to let nature decide when my eggs aren't getting any younger. I can imagine you saying something along the lines of, there's no choice to be made here, but I just feel like I'm in this chokehold of deeply knowing that if we just relaxed, then we'd probably fall pregnant, and equally having no idea how to do that. I guess I just wonder if you have any wisdom to share. Yes. So that chokehold, so get it. And I just want you to see, just look at that. Get really close to that. Get really curious about that. The way it's laid out by thought, this is just what thought does. Thought is either or, black or white. It's yes or no. It's just very dualistic and binary in that way. So thought will create a feeling that then thought describes in this way, right? Where it's like, if I could just relax, I know that would help all of these things. But the problem is I don't know how to relax. And it will say that in so many, if I could just have this, or if I could just do this. I mean, I talked about this all morning around, like, if I could just trust, if I could just align with wisdom, then I would blah, 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 fill in the, but of course, no one knows how to just do the thing that thought is telling them to do. No one knows how to just relax. No one knows how to just trust or align or whatever, because the whole thing is coming from this dualistic thought, which is putting you at the center, saying, you, Maddy, better figure this out. This is your life, and it's up to you to figure out how to do all of these things. But then poor Maddy, whoever she is, doesn't even know how to do this stuff to begin with. So it just ends up being this loop. It ends up being a circle where we think we need something, but then we don't know how to get it. And all that's doing is just a few things. It's reinforcing this sense of a you that's in the middle of all of this that should be figuring something out. It's making it feel like there's a real problem to solve. It's making it feel like a chokehold, and what's really going on, when we take a step back and see that, what's really going on is just a movement of consciousness, which we call thought. It's just a movement in thought. It's just stories and thought. Stories and thought saying, I should feel this way, and then this would happen. How would thought know that? And if I knew how to feel this way, then I would feel that way, and then this would likely happen. It's all stories and thought. All of it. So there is no chokehold. I know it feels that way. There's a sensation, there's energy, there's emotions, right? There's thoughts. It gives that sensation of you being in this tough spot where you need to navigate something or figure something out. But really look at that and look at what's behind it. Is that actual? Or is that like just this experience? It's sensational and emotional and mental. And then it changes. And then the dog walks in the room and thought goes somewhere else, like be super curious about that. That can't be truth. It can't be reality that you're in a chokehold and you need to figure out how to relax or else. Like it can't, and I know you didn't say it exactly like that, but that's how thought gives us this stuff. That can't be. If it was so dire and so serious and so black or white, how is it that we get distracted from this? How is it that new thought shows up and suddenly it looks slightly different? Like, it's just not that solid. All that's happening, again, when we back up, is a swirl of thinking. And it can feel very circular and kind of feel like we need to figure something out in that, but we don't. It's just moving. It's just coming and going. So there aren't two things that you're choosing between. And there's not even like, relax so that IVF can go better or any of that. Just watch how the mind wants to set up all of those hoops and then see that all of that is happening in the mind. It's only happening in imagination. It's happening in thought. And then you just are here now. What's here now? What can you touch? What can you feel? What do you see? Like this is what's real. Everything else is literally story and imagination about what you have, what you need that you don't have, how it might go. And I know when it's a big time like this, the mind is really into imagination. It's trying to paint some picture of certainty or even likelihood or probability, which seems like it feels better, except it doesn't, because that story is just a story and it's always changing and it doesn't know anything really. I would say it doesn't know anything about the future, but there is no future. It is creating the future. So we're right here, and then there's thought creating images and making up that there's a future and all these things should happen. And truly, life is just lived. It's just right here. So kind of more, so that's the main thing, Maddy, is I would keep, there is no answer to the question of how do I relax, but if there were, it's something like that. It's like, watch what's actually happening. Don't get swept away in the content and the imaginary content of thought. Watch what's happening. Watch thought come up and tell you what your future looks like. Watch thought come up and tell you how you should be feeling and that you don't know how to do that. Watch this, watch that. And then in the meantime, be in what's real. Get curious about what's here right now that's not a thought. Like what's actually going on right now. There's something in that. I don't know if it's relaxing, but it's real. It's not imagination. It's authentic. It's genuine. It's grounded in a sense. Not really, but in a sense, it's like, it's just what's actual rather than often the stories that the mind loves to tell, especially in times like this. So that's kind of it. And, you'll notice that judgment, fear, assumptions, expectations about anything only live in thought. So when it comes to trying naturally versus IVF versus anything else, just be dumb. Like, just don't know anything about anything. You have no idea what's going to happen, what you want to happen, what should happen. All of that is imagination. Things are just going to unfold. They already are. They already have been. They're just going to be what they are. So the more you're in a place where it's like, I don't know what's best. I don't know what should be happening. Maybe these steps in that IVF process is exactly, if it happens, that is what happens. If it doesn't, that's not what happens. And I know that's tough when you really, really want something, because the mind is kind of digging in over here and really wanting, something in particular. But best you can, just be in the unfolding of things. Whatever is. Everything else is the mind's opinion about what should be. And that's a very powerful place to be. It's not passive. It's not, how did you say it? just kind of letting nature decide while your eggs continue to age. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's just humble. It's just curious. It's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Anything's fine. So some super invasive procedure might feel like the absolute obvious thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about it. Or not doing that might feel like the obvious choice. But you just want to be really dumb, really open. Like you're just in it. You're just fully in it, watching the stories, not buying the stories. And all kinds of stuff will happen, as it always has in life, and it'll keep happening. So I hope something in that is helpful. Watch for the either or. It's either this or that. That's always thought. So all of this, future, it's all thought. But just come back in to be curious about what's not thought, and kind of watch how life is naturally unfolding. It doesn't need us nearly as much as we think it does. And I hope everything goes well for you, however it goes, and feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks for sending your question. And you guys can send questions to askamy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com. And I'll be back here next week. I hope to see some of you on the silence call tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.